Man is a spiritual being. He is not a piece of flesh.
Are you here comparing Scientology with a religion, any religion in fact, that also sees man as a spirit?
Well, man has conceived man to be a spirit for many more years than he has conceived man to be an animal or a materialistic thing.
But is this the same sort of spirit as a very religious person might see?
Pretty much so. Pretty much so.
Are Scientologists religious people?
Yes, as a matter of fact, the Hubbard Association of Scientologists International is a religious fellowship, and in America particularly, Scientology is used widely in religion. I remember Archbishop Odo Berry here uses Scientology in most of his sermons, he used to, and so on. When you have discovered that man was a spirit, you of course have invaded the field of religion, and you are religious. But remember this, that religion has come uniformly from philosophy. Philosophy is senior to religion.
But doesn't Scientology have any dogma at all? For instance, life after death?
Well, life after death is life after death. And you can't lay down a dogma where you're dealing with fact. And it's very interesting that an individual does survive life after death, but I'm afraid that's too technical a question to go into in a program of this nature.
Are you saying that Scientology has proved this?
Yes, proven it, definitely.
Through Scientology, is it possible to reach towards God?
Oh, very definitely. A Scientologist, before he has gone very far, begins to realize the nature of the universe. He realizes that this didn't all just occur spontaneously one fine day out of some scientific formula. And he realized there must have been an author to all of these things. And he also realizes, oddly enough, in his own participation.
Do I understand from what you say that you can be not only a Scientologist, but a Roman Catholic and an Anglican as well?
Oh, yes. As a matter of sober fact, we have many, many denominations in Scientology, and it's one of the principles of Scientology that one can be a Scientologist regardless of his race, color, or creed, anywhere in the world.
Then Scientology itself is not exactly a religion.
Scientology could be called, well, you could call it a religion of religions.
Scientology is a religion in name only. Behind closed doors, no Scientologist I ever met actually thought of Scientology as anything like a religion. If anything, we described it more like a self-help group. Or, when we were feeling particularly fancy, we said it's an applied religious philosophy which gives one the tools to improve conditions in life and achieve personal immortality. When I say that Scientologists themselves don't think about Scientology as a religion, I mean exactly that. Most of them actually think it's a bit ridiculous when Scientology staff members parade around wearing clerical shirts or cassocks with the white collars. All of those kinds of clothes and the ceremonies that go with them have nothing to do with the practice or business of Scientology. They don't call them churches, they call them orgs. I mean, that kind of gives you an idea of the flavor of how people think about Scientology in the world of Scientology. Nobody thinks of Scientology as a church. They call it a church, but they don't think about it that way. They think about it as a place that you go to do classes and get counseling. When you get past Scientology's smoke and mirrors, you find that it's really just a bunch of people following the very bad advice and instructions of L Ron Hubbard. He created the subject of Scientology in 1952 as a new operation and initially described it as the science of certainty and made it very clear that it had nothing to do with religion. For example, in the first edition of his book, The Creation of Human Ability, written in 1953, Hubbard said, "Scientology has opened the gates to a better world. It is not a psychotherapy nor a religion. It is a body of knowledge which, when properly used, gives freedom and truth to the individual." In a private letter with a Scientology affiliate, a woman named Helen O'Brien, around that same time, Hubbard wrote about his plans to resuscitate the Dianetics business under a new banner. I await your reaction on the religion angle. In my opinion, we couldn't get worse public opinion than we have had, or have less customers with what we've got to sell. A religious charter would be necessary in Pennsylvania or New Jersey to make it stick, but I sure could make it stick. We're treating the present time beingness. Psychotherapy treats the past and the brain. And brother, that's religion, not mental science. Hubbard clearly was a very confused man when it came to understanding the difference between psychotherapy and religion. And you'll note how he's talking here about customers and selling things. There's no question Hubbard was running a business, and he retained that business model from those early days all the way to now.
In your processing, you work on the mind, don't you?
Well, yes. Let me give you an example here of something of the sort. Let us say here is not a very good example. Here's something. Here's something. Now we speak of a body. Here we speak of a body, and there is a body, and now there's an invisible thing, somewhat invisible, but nevertheless containing mass and space and energy, electrical potential and so forth, which surrounds this, which you call the mind. And in that mind is recorded every experience the person has ever had. They are recorded continuously and so on. And then within all that, centralized in all that, you have the spirit. And it does not have mass, it does not have a body, and so on. All it has is a beingness and a sense of identity, the ability to create, the ability to be, and that is the spirit. So, but anyway, there is this mind, and then there's a body. So actually, a spirit is wearing a mind, and it's wearing a body. And when you audit or process a person, he then is able to confront this mind, which hitherto has been totally invisible to him.
We're talking here about the unconscious mind.
Well, yes, there's the conscious mind, the unconscious mind. Any kind of mind is simply a composite of mass, which contains experience and pictures of experience and so forth.
Thought actually has weight or mass to it.
That's a theory, though, isn't it?
Well, that's how we operate in
That's a
Scientology.
belief, yeah. That's a belief.
And,
But that's not been proven in science, has it? Thought doesn't have
no,
weight and mass in science.
This is a religion, it's not a science.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And when you begin to handle man on the basis that he is a spirit, that he has unlimited ability, that he is not necessarily pinned down into, like everybody has just so much IQ, and they never can have any further IQ. When we start that approach, you see, we lose. But when we say he is a spirit of infinite capability, and then we try to improve that capability, in that way we win, and we win very, very, very profitably, very easily. The reason Scientology's assumptions can be considered to be true is because they work. And Scientology is totally a workable science. It is only workable. We're not interested in ultimate or absolutes. We're interested in what produces results. Maybe we are novel in this, but we prefer the tactics which work.
You say that Scientology is a science. Now, it seems to me that Scientologists believe quite a lot of things which would be scientifically unacceptable, and that therefore Scientology isn't a science at all. It's a faith, like flying saucers are a faith.
A science is something which is constructed from truth on workable axioms. There are 55 axioms in Scientology which are very demonstrably true. And on these can be constructed a great deal.
But there are also a lot of things that aren't true.
Not necessarily aren't true, but aren't usual.